Did my AirPods die or something? What's going on, man? It's the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast. We here on our Week 15 recap. I'm Pat. That's Quan. That's CT. It's the Field Level family. How y'all doing tonight, cousin?
I'm good.
Good, family?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing amazing, bro. I'm doing so well.
I like the shirt.
Yeah, man. You know, to the day I die, it don't matter. Up, down, side, left, don't matter.
Not me.
Hey, CT Quan said, not me. He said, not me. Yeah, but we done been through worse, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I did have Jim Tom Sula as my coach. So I've been through worse. Chip Kelly.
But your overall history is better.
Very true. Very, very true. Very true. How you doing tonight, CT?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Had a nice day off. Trying to enjoy with the family a little bit, get some work done. Get back to it on Monday, and got 3 more days, and I'm taking probably about 3 or 4 days off, so I ain't mad.
Ooh,
I ain't mad at that at all. 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
You know, this is around that time. It get real hectic for your boy Pat, man. I'm about to be, man. I'm traveling to San Jose, back to the city, daily. I'm traveling everywhere. If you need to cut, holler at me, Pat Paul. If y'all need a haircut for the Christmas holiday and you in the Bay, www.patpaulegs.com.
Oh, we plug it out here.
You know what I'm saying? Just in case. And if anybody was wondering, you know, it's about that time, man. Y'all ready? Let's get into tonight's show. Really good week of football, man. Really good week of football. The reason I say that is because a lot of unexpected things happen. And I'm here for the unexpected. You know what I'm saying? I'm always here for the unexpected. Before we start on tonight, shout out to Greg, my man Greg Coulter, who also sent me pictures of him with the Field Level merch. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of cool. I told Greg send over them pictures so we could post on the Field Level social media platforms. But Greg Coulter, I think, missed one game. And I think it's the same game that everybody missed this week, which was that Rams-Jets game. But other than that, he went a perfect undefeated. So that was kind of cool from him. Also, CT, if you can do what you did this past week and just do that going forward, as far as the screenshots that you emailed.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Amazing. Appreciate you. But let's get into it on tonight. Field Level family is all in the building. I see we got people online here, but hit us in the comments. Let us know y'all in the building so we can say what's up to y'all, man. But let's get it going, man. Let's go from that very first game, Thursday night. It was the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Interesting game to say the least. I think it even furthermore kind of cemented my statements that I had made previous, Quan, I'm sorry to say. You know, when the Raiders came out, when they were 6-4, when there was a lot of hoopla, Twan, what's going on with you, boss man? When there was a lot of hoopla going on about the Raiders and everybody was, you know, so big on the Raider train, I said, hey, y'all, let's pump our brakes a little bit. I said the Raiders last year were 6-4. They took a skid. We're seeing something very similar here, Quan. And it sucks for me to say because one thing is that the Los Angeles Chargers were a team that was struggling heavily. They had dropped a few games coming into this game. They didn't look really fluid. There were some issues on the defensive side of the ball for sure. So I picked the Chargers to win this game, but it was up in the air for me simply because it was up in the air for me simply because the Raiders' offense wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? So it was the Chargers defense that was struggling. The Raiders offense was probably, you know, up there doing their thing. Derek Carr was looking well. Josh Jacobs was looking good. Darren Waller was doing what he's been doing. Henry Ruggs started to come on a little bit. So I thought this was going to be a pretty solid chance for the Raiders to kind of right the ship, so to speak, and get back in the win column. Justin Herbert comes out 22 of 32, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, was only sacked 1 time. And that's what the issue is if you give a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who is a rookie, but he's a high stature quarterback. He's 6'5". He can sit back there, scan the entirety of the field and not really worry about pressure. It's going to be a hard day. You know what I mean? Austin Eckler gave you 60 yards on the ground, which is solid for him. Josh Jacobs, I had been saying, if you give Josh Jacobs the ball 25 plus times, you win. He got the ball 26 times today or that day, and it didn't really pan out. One bright spot for me, Quan, I think this is kind of an issue, and I'm gonna throw it over to you. Coming out of this year, I'm interested to see if Derek Carr will play next week. I don't know if you have the insider information on that, but if Mariota plays for the next couple games and plays well, I don't think he'll be a Raider next year. I think somebody will try to get that trade in and try to get that contract out of there, because Mariota didn't look bad. He did not look bad. What was he? 17 to 28, 226, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and then ran for almost 100 yards. He had 88 rushing yards. So he didn't look bad. So what's that? That's almost 350 or not, about 320 something in total yards. Not bad. Juan, how did you see the game? Holla at us, the resident Raider.
Oh man, all the points you said about the Chargers was absolutely correct, bro. Like I picked the Raiders only because I thought the sense of urgency was going to be there, knowing that we're mathematically not out of it even with the loss, but then you need so many things to happen now when it was kind of much more cut and dry. Just win and you're in almost. You needed one thing to happen, but pretty much win and you're in. And they didn't come to play. Justin Herbert he had total command of the offense, man. If you watch that game, it didn't even look like he was a rookie in that game. What's up, Rory? He didn't even look like he was a rookie. He looked like a seasoned vet, picking us apart, picking us to pieces. I will say this. This is why John Gruden should have fired Paul Guenther weeks ago. Remember how I've been calling for him pretty much since our bye week? Probably before that. Because that game, before the Charger game, the Raiders defense had been getting gashed on the run. I think over the last 2 games, we've given up over 200 yards total rushing before the Charger game. Well, we stopped their run for the most part. They had under 100 yards, but the passing game got hit up. And it's hard to talk about injuries when the Niners are the most injured team in the league. So I'm not going to give us that excuse. It's that next man up mentality, and we just couldn't do it. As far as the offense goes, bro, we had too many opportunities to win the game. Right. And John Gruden does hold some credibility. I'm not going to say he gets to go, scot-free, but this is on the players, bro. To me, this is all on the players. I know Derek Carr got hurt early. Mariota did come through and play well. And let me just say this real quick and get this out the way. No, Mariota is not better than Carr. Let's just put that out the way, because the stat line was over 200 total yards, almost 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Well, let's not talk about the 2 picks that got dropped. Let's not talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now, I want to see him progress, because I agree with you, Pat. If he finishes out the season and he plays well, he's on a 2-year deal. So someone's going to come trade for him and give him another chance to either be a bridge quarterback or maybe have a chance to compete to start. Derek Carr did too many good things well this year to get his job took in this fashion. And as far as the inside information, I'll pass it over to CT about Derek Carr and his injury. The injured groin, it's a strain. He said, in his words, "I'm still very sore, but I'm going to push to play." So right now, it's up in the air. It really just depends on how much he can deal with the pain, because he's going to have to deal with it.
And Juan said that too. And let me be clear. I'm not saying that Carr should lose his spot over injury. I'm saying that if Carr was unable to play and Mariota started instead and played well, there could be some interest from the rest of the league and what Mariota can do as a potential starter. So that's all I was saying. CT, over to you.
Yeah, that was a bad one, man. That was one that was needed. Obviously, divisional game, so it's pride involved. Really, I was like, wow, how's this going to end with Carr going down? And Mariota giving a little bit of a spark to kind of keep you guys afloat for the time being. Too many losses defensively. Not enough continuity with everything that's been going on. And his team needs to figure out how they can bounce back from adversity. This is a young team that was kind of molded together, and part of that process is going through the season and really battling through adversity. This team hasn't responded as well as, I'd say we'd like. But, it's another opportunity to kind of reevaluate what you have. A couple of things to clean up in the offseason for sure. I'll say it. I think Derek Carr is a guy. I think he's proven that. I think you build around him and get him, the surefire offensive line to be healthy and consistent as he needs. I say get another running back to support Jacobs. Give him a little bit of spare time there. Find different ways to utilize him, continue to, develop his growth. With the receiving game, Nelson Aguilar, I feel like was a flash in the pan for a few weeks. I'm not sure if he's somebody that can be a consistent gamer for you. So I think you do need to solidify and get somebody probably via free agency, just kind of a complimentary 2 or 3 that can move the chains for you. And you have Ruggs to take off the top, Rentho to kind of go underneath. So, you got some good pieces there. Waller is a definite Pro Bowler. He's continuing to ascend. That's a diamond in the rough, essentially, that you brought together on this team. And then obviously, man, we've been talking about this for years, man. The linebacking core needs to be solidified and needs to really develop, for this team to really be monsters down the road. So,
we might have, CT, I'm glad you said that. We might need, have buyer's remorse over Littleton because we gave him and Kwiatkowski. We gave him and Kwiatkowski big money, but in this scheme, he's just not balling. He's not paying up, living up to his keep. Sorry to cut you off though, but yeah.
No, you're good. And I was just gonna say, I like Anthony Lynn, man. So I'm happy that he has another opportunity to coach, and hopefully they'll allow him to continue on, man. That team's behind him, dude. He needs a couple of things, man, but this team's behind him, and I think they'll actually be a little bit more competitive if they keep him. So we'll see.
I have a statement to make before you move on. I know it's a recap. I have a statement because I said it in the text, and CT said you got to say it on the show.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say it right now. If the Raiders do any of these 3 things in the offseason, I will no longer be a Raider fan. And I know it sounds like a hot take, but these 2 on this show with me know me. I've been a Raider fan forever.
Oh, you're
and I'm dead serious. I will just be a football fan of all teams after this. 1, if they fire Gruden, I think Gruden is the coach for us. Steady growth each year. You can look at the numbers.
Okay.
And we have we're number 11 in offense. So I would say top 10, but we right there. Anyway, that's number 1. Number 2, if they fire our GM Mike Mayock.
Okay.
I know he's missed on a few picks, but for the most part, he's built everybody on our team, other than 2 players, are from the old regime. And we're this competitive over a short amount of time.
Right.
With Gruden, who didn't coach for 10 years.
Right.
I think he stays. And 3, if they find a way to make some BS up and get rid of Carr. Only thing I needed to see Carr do was be a little more aggressive in the offense, and who can sit here and say he hasn't done that this year with everything that he's had. If they do any of those 3 things, I'm done. Because I was already on strike 1 with them letting go of Khalil Mack, who still has more sacks than the whole team in 2 years. So that was already strike 1.
No, for sure. And I see that Roy came on, man. Roy said Waller may be a top 5 tight end. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say Waller may be a top 5 tight end. Waller is easily top 3 in this league. Yeah, he's easily top 3 in this league. It is George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller,
and everybody else.
I look at it, and everybody else after it. And I don't care what order you put George Kittle, Travis Kelce, or Darren Waller. It's just George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and Darren Waller are the top 3. And then you have guys after that are really, really good. One guy that we'll talk about next, which was in that Buffalo Bills Denver Broncos game. I was actually pretty excited to see Noah Fant have a pretty good game.
Yeah,
Noah Fant, turned in 8 catches, 68 yards, 1 touchdown in the 48-19 loss to the Buffalo Bills. And I'll touch on the Broncos a little bit as well, but I wanted to kind of start this off by saying Josh Allen is one of the most confusing players in the NFL for me.
Really?
One week he's like, my God, this guy is great. The next week he's like, oh, he's cool. You know what I mean? He does some solid stuff. What I saw from Josh Allen on Saturday night was this: a little bit of Russell Wilson, a little bit of Ben Roethlisberger, a big, strong guy who, when you get him out on the move, even when they press the pocket, he's rolling outside the pocket, throwing off of the run. I saw this guy falling, literally falling, and sling one for a first down, like from the side. Like his body was literally diagonal. that shows the amount of arm strength that this guy can create. And it's been kind of crazy, man, to kind of see, the progression. Earlier on in the series of the show, I said that Stephon Diggs was not elite for me. I'll say this, for this year, he's elite. The guy is balling out. Guy did some amazing things. I'm interested to kind of see how he's going to be when John Brown comes back, because then you got more mouths to feed, so to speak. Because right now he's the unadult, like he's the solidified number one, right? He's the guy, you know what I mean? But when John Brown was there, they kind of like had to spread it around a little bit and things of that nature. But the Buffalo Bills, they just ran all over the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
One thing I'll say is Drew Lock has the most swag in quarterback in the league for me. I love Drew Lock's swag.
Lock gang.
I know it ain't got nothing to do with wins and losses, but Drew Lock's swag is so crazy for me. It almost can be kind of like what a Zach Wilson might be able to be next year. But I'll say that Drew Lock had a solid game for me. I wasn't too mad at Drew Lock. It was 20 for 32, 132, 1 touchdown. But one guy I'll say, I expect a little bit more out of Phillip Lindsay. Melvin Gordon played well, 11 carries for Melvin Gordon, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Phillip Lindsay, same 11 carries for 38 yards, but it just seemed as though he didn't look the part. You know what I mean? It was kind of like it was some issues of him hitting the hole and things of that nature. I was a huge advocate for even possibly saying Phillip Lindsay go somewhere else next year and be the number one guy, but he's got to turn in some better performances for me. And then I'll go to what we talked about earlier in our field level lifetime, I should say, a lifespan, I should say. When we were just a podcast, just only on air on Spotify and Apple and Google. Quan, you were very, very high on the Denver Broncos receiving core. You talked about Jerry Jeudy, you talked about KJ Hamler, and you were like, and I think that when we did our we did a segment for those of you that don't know, I actually invite y'all to go back to the archives and listen to some of those early episodes of the field level. But we ranked that Denver Broncos wide receiver core pretty high. When we talked about Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, granted, Cortland Sutton has not been there this year. And we really didn't know that Tim Patrick was going to come and break out. But KJ Hamler, 1 catch, 4 yards on 4 targets. Jerry Jeudy, 1 catch, 19 yards on 5 targets. And I was watching the game with Sop and Miles, and I told Sop and Miles when the game was going on, I said, coming into this draft, there was no receivers more touted than Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs coming out of Alabama. Those were the top 2 guys easily, right? I could also say at this same moment in the year, those 2 guys, and don't kill me, maybe at the bottom of the rookie wide receiver class.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
And I can agree with you, but I think they're at the bottom for different reasons too.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. So I seen a football team that was for me, it was just a better football team. The better football team won, right? There was nothing I saw the Denver Broncos being able to do to win the game. But I did want to bring that point to life. I just feel like Jeudy and Henry Ruggs right now are at the bottom of the wide receiver class in the NFL, and they started off at the top of it. So it just shows you how much things can change as the pads get on and the whistles blow.
Yeah. The Broncos, man, I picked them to win this game. It's just when you watch the game, like you said, Pat, the Bills were just the better team in all 3 phases of the game. Yeah. For me, I look at the receiving core since you bring it up. I think that Ruggs, Gruden didn't know what to do with Ruggs. Gruden just knew I needed my version of Tyreek Hill because we're in the same division, and I see how additive an asset that can be. Mm-hmm. And I think, like you said, now Ruggs, like you said earlier in the segment with the Raiders, he's starting to come into his own. He's actually starting to be more productive, more consistently. So Ruggs is kind of ascending upwards, even though it's a slow progression. He's ascending up, whereas Jeudy, he just hasn't been solidified, and I don't really think it can't be all him. Drew Lock ain't been healthy all year.
Right.
So that's one. Their offensive line isn't that good. That's 2. That's why you see a lot of the quick passing game just to get the ball out the hand. That's why Drew Lock can have all those completions and only throw for 132 yards in the game. And right now, let's be frank, Noah Fant is the number 1 option right now. So I feel like KJ Hamler just had a bad game. He had a good game the previous week. He had a bad game. He had like 3 drops. So Denver just needs to. They need more. Like CT always says about the young teams. He's absolutely right. This is just a young team that has to learn how to do it the right way. I think their defense was on the field way too much, so the score got out of hand. But I think their defense is built to win actually right now.
Right.
And this is the last thing I'll say for Drew Lock. The best ability is availability, and for 2 straight years, he's just not available enough for him to even build on a good game that he can have. He can't build on it. So I think coming into next year, the Broncos are going to treat him the way I wanted them to treat Baker Mayfield this year. You need to put a quarterback behind Drew Lock that'll put some pressure on him. I'm not saying hand over the starting job to somebody new, but I'm saying Drew Lock isn't the sole starter like, okay, we're going to put a garbage backup behind him because we know he's the guy. No, you need to put somebody behind him, vet or not, who can push him to be better, just like the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts with Carson Wentz. You need to do that. You can't just say, Drew, you the guy. We're not going to put nobody talented behind you.
Man, you brought that up. You're making me want to touch one. I ain't going to touch one with those. CT, go ahead, man.
My bad.
Been a follower of the Bills for many years, man. I enjoyed watching them in the early 90s when they lost all the Super Bowls, but they had Thurman Thomas. He was a good player. Eric Moulds, Peerless Price. It's nice to see this team doing well. I remember when they had Drew Bledsoe and T.O., for a second, man. But I've always been a fan of Josh Allen. I had a defensive lineman that I was training for a while that's over at Wyoming, and he was a redshirt freshman at the time and told me about Josh Allen, how good he was. And then obviously pre-draft, heard a lot about him and his arm strength. But seeing him this year, you see everything slow down. You see him just smooth in the pocket. A lot of good athletic ability. And the biggest difference is he's not making the critical mistakes that he was making last year. If you watch that Houston Texan game last year in the playoffs, that wild card, I want to say, he did everything possible for his team to lose. We'll talk about it later, but kind of what you've been seeing from Nick Mullins, like just consistently putting you in a situation where
we got that next.
And really, really proud of what I've seen from them. Continuing to develop their run game. I think that's going to be a critical point for his career to really have that balance. So, I'm hoping that continues to develop and show out for them. Stephon Diggs, man.
Boy.
Credit.
Yeah, boy.
He's a dog. He's having a year, man. And I just love what they've been able to do with their defensive front seven, for the last few years, and really how it's coming together right now. It's good to see Ed Oliver's. He's healthy and rolling from what I remember, and looking at their tape. So really impressed with them. Their secondary, White is nice, man. He's always been nice.
Trey White.
Mike Hyde, very underrated safety that's been good for many, many years from coming from Green Bay. And I like McDermott as a coach. I really think he's a great coach and built a great culture with the Bills Mafia. It's really what they needed. He's under the radar compared to a Rex Ryan, who was a little bit more brash and out there. And that's what they needed. McDermott doesn't need to be the focal point of the team. He wanted to display what they were capable of, and I see that they're doing that. So shout out to them, holding down the AFC East. Denver, I think they got to let Fangio go, man. I'll take if we lose our defensive coordinator, I'll take Fangio back straight up. But they just need somebody more proficient offensively that can really help this team gel.
And 3-4 though. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking. I was thinking about the 3-4 scheme, and go ahead.
I hear you. We can talk about that later. But I'm really, really interested to see Drew Lock really take over this team and be the guy. I know that he has this team, but give him a full healthy year. Continue to solidify that offensive line. Figure out what you want to do with the run game. I know we talked about it. I remember we had Mees on the show, and we were talking about them finding their identity. Still not there. Philip Lindsay, you brought in Melvin Gordon, so you give me the idea that you really don't want Lindsay. And I feel like his confidence is shot. I don't believe that he feels as confident as he did before. Last year, he knew he was the man. The year before that, he definitely knew he was the man. Now it's like I got Melvin Gordon, and he's not a cheap free agent. So, what is it saying about me? And I feel like he may have to go somewhere, to really prove himself in that sense, like you said. And as far as the receivers, they've had a lot of inconsistency at the quarterback position. The offense, what was like a couple of assistant coaches were trying out to be the quarterback that week. So, come on, man, that doesn't happen every day. Obviously, it's a crazy year, but the inconsistencies have definitely stunted the growth of Hamler and Judy. But, I think over time with Drew Lock staying there, they'll be good to go. So,
hey, speaking on Gordon though, and Lindsey, man, Lindsey got to be a big boy, man. I'm sorry, like
right.
I hear you.
He do because you see people like, now this is Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers, clearly the Green Bay Packers didn't have confidence in him, and they went up and traded to get a guy who not going to contribute for the next 4 years, because Aaron Rodgers about to be MVP this year. So Lindsey had all the power. Now he did have a turf toe or whatever he got injured, but
it's the
like
league
Pat
though.
said,
It's
like
the
Pat
league.
Said, and his opportunities, he's not doing nothing though.
Yeah, I mean, you still got. I mean, because at the end of the day, Melvin Gordon got 11. You got 11, bro.
So what's the problem?
You got just as much as that man. That man turned in, 60-some yards and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns. You turned out 38 yards. Like you got to do better than that. Oh, you got to be quicker than that. You got to be quicker than that. You know what I'm saying? Next game on the docket, man. The San Francisco 49ers took on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. One thing I will say about the game, it was quite refreshing to see fans there. Quite refreshing to see fans. I do feel though that kind of played a little bit of a factor in this game. Nick Mullins is terrible. He is a game managing backup. So that's that. This game, honestly though, let me be a realist about this game. I picked the Niners. I did not expect the Niners to win. I'm actually personally in full tank mode. Like, let's just go ahead on a lose out. See if we can hop in that, because right now we're sitting at 11, pick 11. But if we lose out, I'm sure it'll probably get up to like 8, maybe even like 6. So you know what I mean. I just feel like that's kind of got to be the focus right now. What I'm scared of, as far as that being the focus, as far as like the tanking thing, what I'm scared of right now is that CJ Beathard came in with 5 of 7, 100 yards and a touchdown. I know the chunk of that came out that last minute heave to Kendrick Bourne in the end zone, which actually showed a lot of arm strength, which I was kind of impressed about. But Raheem Mostert goes down to the first half.
Again.
Doesn't play in the second half. You know what I mean? His face bothers me too, Juan. Like literally, me and my brothers always talk about this. Nick Mullins always looks like his facial expression is like, was I supposed to do that? He's like his facial expression is weird. But we lost to the Dallas Cowboys. But I was not impressed with the Dallas Cowboys at all. It was just like two trash teams playing football. This is what it kind of looked like. What I will say is that they said this on the broadcast, CT, and it kind of threw me off. I didn't realize this. At this point in the season last year, the 49ers had 45 sacks at this point in the season last year. Right now, they had 23 at that point. So we're at almost half.
23 of them. I remember like 5.
Right. Half of that number, right? And Saudi, I see you say tank for Trask. No one has to tank for Trask. Kyle Trask will be in the second round. He's not going to be a first round pick. He's going to be in the second round. You'll have, Trevor, Justin, Zach, Trey.
Justin
Fields.
Jeez. You see how bad that boy looked last week? I mean, in the game the other day.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how he does in a football playoff against Clemson, and then we'll see. I mean, I hate the come on, Quan.
Hey,
somewhere else, man.
Hey, you know how I do. Go ahead, though.
And that's Ohio State. You ain't supposed to be doing that. That's O State.
No,
that's State.
Fresno State alumni.
Oh, you ain't Ohio State no more.
I ain't nobody. I'm definitely not the Raiders no more. Now go ahead, finish.
Oh, he's going. Wow.
But no, what I will say again is that you see, for me personally, I just see how special this team, as bad as we look, CT, I also see how special this team can be. Like, to know how much the 49ers are missing, the most injuries in the entire NFL. But I cannot talk tonight, and this person will be my in the stands person. for Wednesday night show.
I know who it is.
Richard Sherman, bro.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman looks so bad.
He's done.
Like it's like he done. He out of there, bro. It's like I have no and I think CT. I think you caught a lot of my frustration today, and I want to apologize publicly. But when you were like, you know, he looks tapped out. I'm like, this is football, bro. This is the NFL. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play this game. There's no way you can be tapped out. He's cooked. He is done. He is finished. And I want to say, if all honesty, he knows that he's cooked. He knows that he's done. He knows that he's finished. And I'm going to tell you, that's why he keeps on saying it's going to take a miracle for me to be with the Niners next year, because he knows he's cooked.
It's a miracle next year.
I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. Would not be surprised if he retires. That would not surprise me at all. Eric Armstead had 2 sacks today. Who cares? He still sucks. You know, I mean, it was just kind of one of those things. Oh, you had 2 sacks. You know, congratulations. You don't look that great. A lot of times, he has 3 on the season. That's terrible.
3.5. Excuse me.
Yeah, but this Niners, I want to ask you, CT, and as I throw this over, man, what's going on with Emmanuel Mosley? Is he in the doghouse? Because Akello started over E-Man. Didn't see
good
that
too.
Wait, E-Man was available?
E-Man played.
He was a gunner.
E-Man played, and they started Kello, bro.
It was Tevin Coleman this week.
Oh man, Juan says Armstead is going to show out next year with Kinlaw gaining experience and Bosa back. We'll see next year, Juan.
I don't know about show out, but he'll put up 6 to 8 sacks.
Yeah, his numbers are definitely improved, but I think that's an indictment against him, though. If anything, it's
right,
like
you can't do nothing without Bosa. Is that what you're saying?
An indictment against the contract, not him, because that's what I would expect at the highest.
E-Man got dogged, but if you look at the end, and I'll pass this over to CT, I'm sorry, but E-Man got dogged on an out route, cool. But if you go throughout the entirety of this season, it's been Verrett and E-Man who have been the most consistent corners, game in and game out. Those two have been consistent across the board. And then, I mean, Kello played good today. I'm not going to take that away from him, but I'm not hopping on the Kello train. We know that for a fact. I feel like I can get out there and play better than Kello today. On God, I do. In my heart, I feel like that. But TT, I'll pass it over to you.
Wasn't really upset. I'm upset because it's the Cowboys, and if you grew up in San Francisco, born and raised Niner fan, you have a couple family members that are Cowboy fans, and you usually have units with exactly. And you know, you kind of deal with it. But this was tough in that sense, just because of the historical rivalry. But you know, you just gotta be disappointed, man. I feel bad for Kyle Shanahan every single week, man, because I know that there is they're well prepared, man. You know, for the most part, I don't have an issue with the play calling for the most part. I honestly, we talked about it in training camp. Jeff Wilson is the best running back on the team. He passed the eye test for me. It's consistency. But one thing I will say, this is, you know, just from running backs and with your experience, Pat, you know this just as much as I do. It's about the rhythm. We were talking about, I know Quan made a comment talking about, man, these cats are made of paper. I understand why you feel that way, but I would also say you build a callus as a running back, the more hits you take.
Right.
A lot of cases, right? If you're not getting a lot of reps or you've been in and out, you're cold, you typically break down a little easier. That's why these running backs just need to get going, and that makes a huge difference. Like Tevin Coleman is a shell. He's done. Jed McKinnon has no burst. He looked like he was doing a 300-meter stride. You know what I mean? No kick whatsoever. But Wilson, excellent. Mostert, he's sparky, man. He's one of them guys. He's a rhythmic shooter. If this was applied to basketball, he's not somebody that can make his own shot and develop. And that's kind of where he is right now. And, you know, I hope he heals up, but it's just not somebody that can be dependable and really be the rock star that we need him to be from the running back position. I would go with Wilson, to be honest with you, and give me speed back next year and see what I can do. Make sure you sign back Juice.
Please, Lord.
If you want to spend money, go spend it on Juice.
And extend Fred.
Right, of course. I ain't even got the defense yet. Kendrick Bourne, I was hard on him last week. He had an okay game. I think he fits the team. I don't think he fits really anywhere else.
I knew y'all was gonna say. I knew y'all was gonna say something like that about. I knew it,
bro.
I knew it.
Certain players,
he can't do nothing right.
Excel in other places because one, his personality ain't gonna rock well with everybody.
No, I agree.
He's himself within San Francisco. The coaches know him well. He has a temperament with them. It works out that way. But what he's going to be asked to do and paid a little bit more money potentially, it ain't going to work the way it would need to work. So he would be best staying with San Francisco. Brandon Ayuk, go get that record from Jay Rice for the rookie receiving record. Go get it.
Yeah, 73 today.
And I'll say one more thing about the quarterbacks, and then I'll jump to defense real quick. You got to start Beathard next week. You should have did it this week.
No, he might win. He can't start it, bro. He might win. Nah.
No. You know what, though? It's really about an evaluation for next season.
Cut both of them.
But look, you're going to play Seattle. You're going to lose that game. And then who we got next week?
I think we go Seattle, and then I think we have
well, Seattle's last. It's week 17, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I got you. Don't worry about it. You go ahead on and talk.
And then we can switch over to and Jordan Reed. Actually, if you can get him for a cheap price, do it.
Yeah. We got Cards in Seattle. We could lose both of them.
McGlinchey goes down. I was like, you know what? This probably needed to happen for you, bro. Take a rest.
He's so bad.
He's
so bad in pass set.
Really, really bad. So you need to upgrade that. Defensively, I wasn't even aware about E-Man's situation. I did wonder where he was at. The clips I did get to watch of the game, I did see Akello in there. He played all right, better than what I've seen him play in a long time. Tavares Moore, okay. Jimmy
knocked this out smooth.
So out. It was rough. Praying that he's all right. Fred Warner's a dog, as usual. Looked good out there. Kinlaw showed up on tape today, man. He popped for me. Still like
Kinlaw was great. Kinlaw was great in the run game for sure.
Yes, I think that's his skill set. I think that's what he's going to produce for us, and that's critical. We need that. You know, Greenlaw, fine. Couple mishaps with tackles and stuff like that, but okay. Sherman getting turned around and twirled like a salsa dance.
Can I add something to your Greenlaw statement, CT, and you tell me how you feel about it? They got Al Shahir there as the other backer. I would not mind seeing Marcel Harris kind of play how Buchanan played for the Cardinals and play the other backer instead of Al Shahir, put Marcel Harris there. Just my personal opinion.
I'm interested. I mean, what is he, about 215?
He's a hitter too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, that's what they want to do with Eric Reed. He didn't really vibe with it, but Marcel Harris runs better than Eric Reed, so I think that to work out. And Robert Saleh, man, he's just a great coordinator, bro. Look at our numbers, stack up, with the rest of the team. Considering he's been, paper mache in this lineup all year and really putting his players in positions to be successful for the most part. I got to give him credit for that. Obviously we didn't have Rhett this week. That was weak. That was trash. Just certain things just didn't line up the way we needed them to. Was okay with losing the game. Richie James, come on, bro. This is why you're fifth on the depth chart.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? And you float up there just because of injuries. Like, you got to be better than that, bro. That's it, man. I wish could have done better. I actually like Tony Pollard. He showed me a little something. I've kind of seen snippets of him. I thought he played pretty well. And let's finish the season out, bro, and get some time, bro, because it's a mess.
Quan, over to you, brother.
Richard Sherman is done. I know we said this already, but I think, again, we always say this about, with teams in terms of like winning and losing. Sometimes it's how you lose. Well, if we're going to talk about a player and his individual performance, it's about how you play. Richard Sherman not only looks slow, but he looks like he doesn't, to me, he looks like he doesn't care. Because his effort today, his effort. But you were right. But when Pat said, like, man, you getting paid millions, and even if you don't want to be on the Niners, it's still an audition to get picked up by somebody else. So I think he should be done because his effort today on tackling, when usually Richard Sherman is at least a solid tackler. At least that.
He got ran over twice. He got ran over twice.
And then on the last touchdown that Dallas Cowboys third string tight end got, it looked like he overran it on purpose, and then just put his hands out there. Like he looks out of it.
I knew it was bad when Tavares Moore, when they scored in the back of the end zone, Tavares Moore looked at him like, "Where are you at? Like, what are you supposed?" And Richard Sherman gave you the old corner gesture when you mess up.
Right, I'm gonna clap my hands. He just needs to go, man. And I feel bad because he's so talented and he's so smart. But it's just time to give it a rest, man. I think the Niners are going to try to get younger, which is probably why they should bench him. Honestly, they should do that. They should bench him, honestly, because they'll bench anybody else. We can't keep living off of our resume. You gotta keep doing something. Anyway, other than that, the only other point I'm gonna make is about two ones about your running backs. CT, you're absolutely right. Running backs need a rhythm. Absolutely. But the problem is, you guys, in my opinion, got to the running back by committee because nobody was establishing themselves to be somewhat of a key guy. So then when you have all these guys needing carries, then you're never going to have a rhythm because none of them are outshining the other one. And when you do get your opportunities, if you always getting hurt, it wouldn't be a running back by committee if somebody could just stay healthy.
I feel you, but this is the problem. So Shanahan, obviously, with the running zone scheme, comes from his dad's pedigree with that, right? They had obviously Orlandis, Gary, but nobody was Terrell Davis. We don't have a Terrell Davis. There's no distinct.
I don't know if you remember when Alfred Morris was the boy in Washington under that same running scheme. Alfred Morris was him.
But look, CT.
And he was a special back. I don't even know if we have an Alfred Morris thing. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Maybe, but look, this is my thing. All those running backs that you were about to list, Gary, Portis, Morris, what's Brandon? Mike Anderson, whoever else you want to put.
Pull back. Let's go.
They were the guys though because they never got injured. All your guys, we can't even see them maybe turn into an every down back because all of them get injured.
Jeff was close in that New England game, bro. If he'd have stayed healthy, I guarantee he'd start every game.
Probably because I can agree with you. He looks the best when you look at him on film. He got wiggle. He's aggressive when he runs. He never goes down first. My first contact. He's nice, but he can't stay healthy, and neither can anybody else. And that's why I text you when I text y'all. Dude, he broke for like 9-10 yards, and he got pushed out of bounds. He didn't even fall down, and he slammed his helmet down because he was hurt. Like, what happened?
Right.
So
Hold on. Let me just. I have to address this. Saudi says Surtain is top 10, possibly top 5 picks. Surtain is trash. If you didn't watch that game on Saturday, Patrick Surtain was getting whooped. All game was getting whooped. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Patrick Surtain was getting whooped.
What about Asante Samuel Jr.?
I might look at him, but Patrick Surtain was getting whooped. When I say whooped, Pitts was whooping him. Six was whooping. Everybody was whooping Patrick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Pitts is good, but Pitts is a tight end, so there should be no, Anyway.
And he was whooping them. Go ahead.
Yeah. We're going to have to reevaluate when it's draft time. But real quick.
The Curtan.
Right.
Surtain. Give Surtain the Curtan.
I like that, CT. You might have to put that on the show. I like that. When you talk about Kendrick Bourne, man, I know you guys are the Niners fans, so y'all know more than I do. But just hear me out, man. I'm not saying he needs to – I just think he needs to be on the field more. I don't like seeing it when all the third down catches seem to go to him, if not Reed. He makes big catches. He shows the most energy after when I take that back. Ayuk. So Ayuk got that spark. But he just gives you guys something that I don't think you have from like you said about Drew Lock having that swag and it's infectious. He brings that to your team. I feel like he needs more opportunities because I don't like seeing when it's third down, Mullins goes to him, he picks up the first, and then he jogs back off the field. Like, bro, like I just don't like to see that. If anything, y'all should be in more 11 personnel then, and just see something. in my opinion. But that's it, man. You can go on.
We need to run more 11 personnel just because it seemed like Ross Dwelly and them guys is out there just as filler. I don't know what they are. They're out there to do.
They block it all day.
Yeah, I would like some 11 just to if you run some 11, that just gives you more of explosiveness and more options downfield. And as we switch over and somebody text Chris. Paxton Pax is on here, man. My man, Paxton Chris H. Remember where you had? I got it in me tonight. I want to also say though, everyone keeps on talking about the Niners drafting the quarterback. I personally just don't feel like that Niners front office is not they're not ready to get rid of Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G is still their guy. So we should start to look at what other options the Niners can do because I honestly don't believe they're going to draft a quarterback.
But you could definitely take the approach that I've been saying about some teams and get somebody behind Jimmy that can keep that pressure.
I wouldn't mind drafting a Kyle Trask or something in the second or third.
Yeah.
They won't get a first rounder and completely shatter Jimmy's confidence, though. They won't do that.
Why are we worried about confidence with quarterbacks? We're not worried about nobody else's confidence. No. If you find one in the first and he falls to you, maybe not trade like the Eagles did. I mean, the Packers did. But if you find somebody, get him.
Juan, don't say that, Juan. I mean, you see what this guy is dealing with this year. Like you can't give him the 3 out of 4 losing seasons.
Come on, Juan.
Brian Hoyer was his first quarterback. Come on.
Yeah, like come on, Juan. Chill out, bro. I understand I ain't gonna let you have that one, Juan.
The grass is not always greener. Just remember that.
Let's jump over, man. Let's go to the next game. We got the Seahawks and the Washington football team. I'll touch it, and then I'll pass it over. Once again, Russell Wilson is nothing special. 121, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 0 sacks. Dwayne Haskins threw 2 picks. That was the difference in the game. But Logan Thomas had 13 catches, 101. Yeah, Seahawks win.
I'll be quick too. I think the Jets and the football team needs to be contacting the Jets about maybe trading for Sam Darnold because they need a young guy in there. Alex Smith is a good story, but he's not. He shouldn't start. Dwayne Haskins has proven over multiple games, multiple opportunities. He just can't even be. You ain't even got to win the game. Just don't lose it. He can't even do that. So he got to be out of there. And Kyle Allen experiment, no. So they need to be on the phone and getting a young guy in there. Either they need to trade for Carson Wentz, who might need to just to change the scenery like some quarterbacks need, or go get the young guy Sam Darnold, see if you can build him back up.
Hey, Carson starting early too. Carson already started. Hey, I'm not about to be no backup, bro. I'm letting y'all know right.
Hey, I like that. Right, I like that though.
He already came out and said, "Look, if y'all think I'm about to be here, sit over here and be a backup, y'all got another thing coming, bro. That ain't what we playing over here."
I mean, shouldn't you?
No, I feel you. Go ahead, CT. Like Seahawks and the Washington football team.
Carlos Hyde, huh? 50-yard touchdown run. Had 2 carries for 55 yards. Russell Wilson, I'll be honest, he's been pretty mediocre for the last 5 weeks or so. Really interested to see. I don't know if they just kind of toned it down to try and get them healthy and ready for the playoffs, but I don't know. Defensively, they don't have it really. I think Alex Smith plays this game. I think they win, to be real with you. Washington football team is not bad. They're pretty dang good, man. Haskins, yeah, that's a good point. Haskins, I was nervous about him playing. That was really what hindered me from picking Washington to win this game, even though I was hopeful that they would. But Seattle, they're just trying to wind down and finish strong without any injuries and try and get some people back. Quick game, nothing major. So that's all I got on that.
And do you guys know if Rashad Penny had any effect? He got activated off the injured reserve. Do you know if he did anything in his?
No.
He looked good at practice. In the game,
no.
I'm gonna double check.
He didn't do nothing. Because they're DJ Dallas got carted off the field today, so his opportunity.
He had 2 carries for 6.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's none to praise about. All right, go ahead. Next game. Yeah,
Kerr had 2 carries for 6, and then as we move on to the Jets, Rams, and deal with those guys, I do want to point out the fact that in that Dallas Niner game, Aldon Smith had 0 tackles for a loss, and 0 sacks. Just want to point that out.
He did recover a fumble.
Bro.
The Jets Rams game. The Jets just looked really good out of nowhere. I don't know if it was the Rams looking bad, and it wasn't the Rams looking bad for me. When I watched the game, it wasn't the Rams looked bad. It was the Jets looked really good, which was kind of odd. I want to also say, just as a football player who cares about the way I look on the field, whoever is putting together the color schemes and jerseys for game day for the Rams needs to be fired. That blue helmet with the bone jersey with the yellow pants, that was terrible. They should never wear that uniform combination again. I'm blaming 90% of the loss on that uniform combination of the blue helmet, the bone jersey, and the yellow pants. 90% of the reason why they lost is because they had that on. They looked terrible. Sammy D has returned. Sam Darnold is making a case for himself next year. I feel like when the Jets play with Sam Darnold at quarterback, they're a totally different looking team. And it showed, right? Last week when they played the Raiders, was that last week or week before last?
Week before last. They should have won it.
They should have won that game. Sammy D looked very, very good in that game for me personally. He comes out this week, 22 of 31, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, got sacked twice. If you look at it like that, got sacked twice by that Los Angeles Rams defensive line. Pretty solid. Frank Gore had 59 yards on the ground, then Crowder did his thing. But the Jared Goff just it's funny to see their numbers, right? Jared Goff had 2 more yards than Sammy, but Jared Goff just didn't look solid. He looked uncomfortable all day. And in essence, I think one thing that the Jets did, I think they watched that film from the Niners and Rams game, because Aaron Donald, though he had 3 tackles and 1 for a loss, he just didn't seem that involved in the game. Like, he wasn't disruptive. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they watched how that Niner Rams game went, but I think that they played him so well. And I think that the Jets were the better team. They did a really, really solid job today. And I'm happy. I mean, Frank Gore had 1 catch today for 6 yards, but it was the 6 yards that sealed the game. So, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Jets for taking down the Rams. But I think the Rams is going to be a team that's going to be interesting, because this is the issue with the Rams. They play down to their competition.
Yes.
The Rams are a team that if they overlook this team or think this team is not good, they get beat. And I think that that's what you saw with the Rams today.
Hey, nothing more, nothing less. You took my point right out of my mouth. That's exactly what it was. They just didn't get off the bus. I was listening to the game on the when I was on the road earlier today and listening on my phone. And one thing that they kept saying was a lot of mistakes, at least from the Rams offense is concerned. They had a lot of drops.
Yeah.
They had a lot of drops, man. And you can't – so drops are a lack of focus. And lack of focus means you didn't come to play. So you definitely overlooked the 0-13 Jets. And then you got – and like Sean McVay said in his post-game conference, we got embarrassed. Now, we're going to have to move on. But no doubt about it, we got embarrassed today. In all phases of the game, you got embarrassed. So hopefully they're able to right the ship. Because they lost, Seattle was able to clinch a playoff spot. They didn't clinch the division yet. That'll be settled later. So, but I mean, the Rams need to win that division so they can get a home game, because they don't want to have to go on the road coming off of this kind of a loss in a couple of weeks in the playoffs. So that's it.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's all we got on that.
Not much. I'll just say this. Shout out to the Jets, man. Don't finish the season without getting a win at least. I didn't want Frank Gore to go out like that, so I'm happy that happened. Sammy D, I'm starting to gain some respect for you.
Come on, baby. Get on the Sammy D train.
Bro, SC quarterbacks don't do it for me. So I will say this, though. He does need to audition for himself. That's a great way to put that. It's a messed up situation. He has a terrible head coach that's not a leader for him and has admitted to not developing Sammy D properly. You're talking about Trevor Lawrence being over there. come on, man. This dude was a first round pick for you a few years ago. You know, he barely had an opportunity to really, get things going. With the right weaponry available for him, the right resources, should I say? Yeah, man, it's disappointing. I got to be honest, but in the Rams, I thought that the formula for them, based off of last week, was run the ball. Take some pressure off of Goff and just allow the defense to do what it does. Well, you have some miscues and issues with the defense here and there, and then the run game. They haven't found that proper balance yet. So they do have a few more weeks to kind of solidify that if they're going to the playoffs and to see what that looks like. But, this is what you're going to get with the Rams. They're just inconsistent.
Hey, shout out though. I don't know if y'all can see, bro. Can y'all see?
This guy.
Exclusive. That Pat Paul Cup. Anyway, let's go on. Next game, man. Battle of the OU boys, man. Battle of them OU boys. Hey, them OU boys put on a show today. And that's Jalen Hurts versus Kyler Murray. The Eagles versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals take down the Eagles 33-26. Jalen Hurts, though, man, 24-44, 338, and 3 touchdowns. And he actually adds another 63 yards on the ground. Was almost the leading passer and the leading rusher. Was the difference between 1 yard between him and Miles Sanders. But he goes for, what's that, 405, 404? Yeah, 404. Total yards, and then Kyler Murray goes for about 435. So those two guys put on a show. I think today was the day when Jalen Hurts stepped up to the plate and says, you know what, Carson Wentz, they gave it to me. I ain't giving it back. I am looking to see how he does going forward this year. But as of right now, Jalen Hurts put on a show. So I'm gonna give him his flowers while he's here, man. I think that's something that they needed. I will say this though, DeAndre Hopkins, 9 catches, 169 yards, 1 tug on 11 targets. I mean, the guy was a monster out there today. He did whatever he wanted to do with that Philadelphia Eagles defense. And I think what happens a lot of times is that when Kyler Murray is putting stress on the defense on the ground, the air opens up because you have DBs now that are watching the backfield trying to see if he's going to pull and tuck and run or if he's going to air it out. And I think that's kind of what the product of the situation was today. I still do believe that outside of DeAndre Hopkins, they're too dependent on D-Hop for me personally. This offense is extremely dependent on D-Hop. You got, Arnold, the tight end, got 3 for 54. And then Keyshawn had 2 for 38. So it's just kind of like they're very dependent on D-Hop. And they can't be that way going forward. They'll be a wild card team for sure. They're going to be in the wild card. But I'm interested to see how they go forward. But I am also interested to see Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia can make a run late here, these last 2 games, and win the NFC East.
Well, Washington's going to have to completely fall, which is possible because they ain't got no quarterback right now. So it's possible.
Right.
I'll be quick because my phone about to die. I'll be quick, though. Jalen Hurts, bro. If Jalen Hurts is the perfect answer for this team right now with all the shambles they have in the O-line, because when you don't have an O-line that can hold up and protect, you got to have somebody that's willing and able to get out the pocket. So that's perfect. But if Doug Peterson and the Eagles want to not ruin Hurts, kind of the way Carson Wentz started to get ruined by getting hit too much, they need to lean on Miles Sanders more. You can't have a rookie in his second start throwing 44 passes. You can't have it, especially when Miles Sanders is well proven to get you yards on the ground. You just can't do it. Now, I know that the score got out of hand early, so maybe that has something to do with it. It was like 17-0 before the Eagles even got on the board. So it got out of hand early, so maybe that's why they leaned away from it. But I'm just saying going forward, you got to be able to not put that much heat on Wentz. As for the Cardinals, man, shout out to Hassan Reddick again. He got 10 sacks, fellas.
Wow.
He got 10 sacks on a year, and he's never played edge rusher in his life till this year. So I'm glad he's found the role.
How about your boy, Quan?
Man, I was hard on him, man. I thought they did the good thing. They got Simmons to put that pressure on him, and he stepped up at a whole different position to stay on the field. That's what you call someone who wants to be a part of the team and wants to be good. So shout out to him, man. He got 10 sacks, double-digit sacks. So I can appreciate that from his development. And Pat, I'll just agree with you there with everything you said about Kyler. I ain't got nothing really to say about the Cardinals. They'll be a wild card team, but they cannot lose anymore because Minnesota. The Bears are right there. If the Cardinals would have lost today, the Bears and the Cardinals would have had the same record, but the Bears would have been in, and the Cardinals would have been out. So they can't lose no more.
There it is, CT.
I'll start with the Cardinals. Shout out to Quan for just following Hassan Reddick all year, man, and really, pointing out that, hey, he got a lot to prove, and damn, you might as well be that man agent, there, to be real with you.
Hey, man, you got to put the pressure on these fellas when they ain't playing up. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. Big win for Arizona, and easily a trap game with Philly kind of finding themselves right now. The defense is a playoff defense, man, and I've been, worried about this defense for a while, just as, them being an opponent of the 49ers earlier in the year and beating us. Jalen Hurts, man, he's a special dude. Has the pedigree. He's been through a lot of adversity in college. Was able to move away from Alabama, which was his team. Tua took it over, and he came to OU and did his thing, and was just waiting in the wings for his opportunity and made it happen. Very proud of what I've seen from him. I do agree with you. They need to balance that out. You're asking a lot of Jalen Hurts to single-handedly will your team offensively to win, which actually says a lot about the confidence that they have in Carson right now, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's something to be said. It's good to see Zach Ertz back and, making some plays. It feels like he's been gone for a while, injury and just whatever's going on with him in the organization with his contract. But Arizona, they're going to fight to the end. I'm not sure how it's going to land for them, but they're going to continue to fight, man. But I wouldn't be surprised. I agree. Philly might mess around and win the East.
Boys, there's a chance. They are right there. What, 5-9, 4-9, 6-8.
Shoot, Dallas might win it.
Man.
All right. Last game on the document before we got here, Chiefs and the Saints. Drew Brees made his return today, right? He makes his return. Saints defense looked pretty solid for a while in the game. Drew Brees' first game back, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, was sacked once. But I will say the New Orleans Saints in this game really missed Michael Thomas. I feel like Michael Thomas kind of really expands that offense a lot. I understand that most people call him the slant guy, whatever the case may be. But when you look at this offense, I'm not used to a New Orleans Saints offense that goes under 300 yards in total offense in a game. New Orleans is literally most times they're up there, 470, up there pushing 5. But they were right there at total offense today. Was 285. So that's passing and rushing. And then you had on the flip side of that the Kansas City Chiefs, who were upwards of 400. You know what I mean? So then that is the difference in the game right there. You know what I'm saying? The defense for the Saints, they're really, really good. But it's sometimes when they're not very disciplined. And I think that when you're playing a team, first of all, let me just say this, get this out of the way. Marshon Lattimore is amazing. That guy's a baller, bro. For me, honestly, we talk about top corners in this league. I feel like Marshon Lattimore does not get enough credit for what he does week in and week out. He's going to be on the best guy, and he's going to lock him. And that's just kind of what he does. He had some nice breakups against Tyreek Hill. He had some nice breakups against Travis Kelce. But, was not enough. Too much Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City, was leading pretty much the entirety of the game. And the Saints just didn't have enough firepower. Like, it wasn't no pop in the Saints to really get it done. Quan, it's on you.
I don't think there ever is pop when Drew Brees is there. That's just my opinion. I know he's efficient. There's just no pop. I'm sorry. And Patrick Mahomes, that's it. I ain't got nothing else to say. The Chiefs are just Patrick Mahomes, bro.
That's it right there.
Definitely too much. A game that you wanted to see. Two high-powered offenses, not at full strength, but with the potential to put up a lot of points. This is really just a filler game for Drew Brees as he returns. Definitely needed him back. Michael Thomas, get healthy because they're going to need you to make any type of run to kind of solidify Drew Brees' potential last run. I feel like it is, so we'll see what happens. Kansas City, man, very resilient. I feel like they're building. They're continuing to build and service themselves as, the top team in the league. They defended, their Super Bowl title well this entire season, and I look forward to watching them in the playoffs light it up as well. Mahomes is growing in the maturity as far as a quarterback and his decision-making. He's continuing to be amazing. He knows that he doesn't have to spray magic fairy dust on everything. He knows that he can play within his strengths. He knows he can use his resources differently than other quarterbacks would be able to. And that just makes them special. So, shout out to them on the win.
Right. No, that's that. That's all. Rory, do me a favor, man. Make sure that you're sending us your address so we can send you over that field level merch for when you won. Greg, I don't know if you were on when you caught it earlier, but you also won again this week, but you already got your double prizes, so you're good to go, brother. Then I got to talk to Rob. I'm sure Rob probably got his stuff by now. And then Juan, we got to get you to just come by the house. I'm going to drop it off to you. I'm not about to ship nothing in Daly City from Daly City. It is what it is, man. Hey, I want you guys, if you can, go ahead on, subscribe to the channel, turn on that hit the notification bell to turn on the notifications for when we are available. Thank you, Roy, for that information. I'll hop on there and grab it when we're available. So make sure you have that notification bell turned on. Also, follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram. It's the Field Level on Instagram, and it's the Field Level 1 on Twitter. So make sure you're following us on all of those. Also, if you're in the house or you in the car, you on a long ride, man, go back into them archives, man. Go to Google Play, go to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher.
Get them.
iHeartRadio.
Get them.
Wherever you want to go to get your podcast needs, go over there, type in the Field Level, and listen to some of the old content, man. I mean, old stuff is oldie but goodie. We still got the good stuff coming at all times, man. So look, this is the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast. I'm Pat. That's Quan. That's CT. We'll be back here Wednesday night, 8:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's all one love, man. Make sure you're eating your vegetables and drinking your water, but most of all, get money, man. It's the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast.
Green tea.